So we have some breaking news here in Pokemon Go. With a fairly random tweet from the Pokemon Go official Twitter account, it appears that we're having Gible Community Day, June 6th. Now this is a little unprecedented. It's kind of bizarre because usually Pokemon Go doesn't announce the next Community Day until the current Community Day, like the current month's day, is over with. And we haven't had Swablu Community Day yet. That's like next weekend. So it's kind of bizarre that they would announce the Gible Community Day so quickly. And it's also kind of bizarre that they'd have the Community Day so early too. So it just all feels kind of surreal. But the tweet has been up for a couple hours now. It hasn't been taken down. So I'm pretty sure the Pokemon Go official Twitter hasn't been hacked. So it looks like June 6th. We're getting Gible Community Day, finally. After all this time, probably the most highly anticipated Community Day is happening June 6th in Pokemon Go. And then following the trend of, Swablu here, we're very likely probably going to get Mega Garchomp along with the Gible Community Day. So one of the most powerful Megas in the entire game may also be coming out June 6th as well. So of course in this video I'm going to be going over the potential of the Community Day Garchomp, what special move it might get. That has yet to be confirmed, and I'll also talk about just how good Mega Garchomp is going to be in the raid meta. So buckle up guys, it's Gible Community Day time. By the way, if you're curious about just how good Moonblast Altaria can be in the meta, the Community Day Pokemon that we're getting this month, link up above and in the description to that analysis. It's actually pretty dang good. So first up, let's talk about Mega Garchomp as a raid attacker. As a Dragon-type Pokemon, Mega Garchomp would be the most powerful Dragon-type Pokemon in the game to be released until Mega Rayquaza comes out. Shadow Salamence here, you can see on the list, does have slightly higher DPS than the Mega Garchomp, but you can see that the TDO, the tankiness, if you will, is a pretty big gap there, you know? So like maybe a 0.5 gap in DPS, that's not super significant. And then when you consider the vast bulk that Mega Garchomp has here, chances are that DPS is going to go a little bit higher because we'll be able to get more outrages in, and outrages in more consistently than a Shadow Salamence could. Because, you know, Shadow Salamence could faint before using outrage, which is awkward. And then you also have to consider that it's a Mega slot, and Shadow Salamence isn't a Mega, so you're going to be bringing a Mega anyways, and it looks like Mega Garchomp would be the Mega to bring until Mega Rayquaza comes out. And then when Mega Rayquaza does come out, it doesn't look like it is for sure going to be the best Dragon-type Mega. I mean, for one, it does have the sub-flying type versus Mega Garchomp's sub-ground type, so that does mean that in some specific raids, Mega Garchomp could be more useful than Mega Rayquaza. And then to add to that, Mega Rayquaza here does not have the 9% nerf. Some Pokemon in Pokemon Go get a 9% nerf put on what their stats should be in the game because at level 40 they have more than 4,000 CP. Currently, no Mega Pokemon has gotten that 9% nerf, but none of the Mega Pokemon's base forms, like normal Garchomp for instance, none of them have the 9% nerf either. So Mega Rayquaza and Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon do present the possibility of getting the 9% nerf because their base forms have the 9% nerf. So we also have to cross that bridge too, and that could also negatively, well, it obviously would negatively impact Mega Rayquaza's performance if that were to happen. So Mega Garchomp is looking pretty consistent, looking pretty solid. We have no idea when we're ever going to get Mega Rayquaza, so best Dragon-type Mega for some time to come, probably a year. Yeah, definitely. Mega Garchomp here is looking nice. And then even if Mega Garchomp does get replaced as the Mega of choice, Garchomp itself is a very powerful Dragon-type Pokemon for raids, so I think Garchomp's going to be fine. Then when it comes to being a Ground-type raid attacker, Mega Garchomp will be the best Ground-type Mega Pokemon until Primal Groudon comes out with Precipice Blades specifically. Primal Groudon without Precipice Blades with the Earthquake, well, Earthquake Mega Garchomp is going to be beating that guy out as the best ground-type Mega. So Mega Garchomp looking pretty good. And then there's always the possibility of the Community Day move that Mega Garchomp gets. It could be Earth Power, and Earth Power would give Mega Garchomp even more power as a ground-type raid attacker. It would be better than Earthquake, and then obviously much, much better than Primal Groudon with the Earthquake here. Of course, Precipice Blades is looking pretty nice, but like I just said with Mega Rayquaza, you know, Primal Groudon here does not have the 9% nerf. Groudon does have the 9% nerf, so will they nerf Primal Groudon? It's hard to say. But right now, I can definitely say that Mega Garchomp is looking pretty consistent and pretty powerful with either Earth Power or Earthquake. Right now it's not confirmed what the Community Day attack is going to be for Garchomp, so we have no confirmation on Earth Power. But yeah, Earth Power definitely would be an upgrade. And then when it comes to normal Garchomp, obviously Earth Power would be an upgrade for it there too. I'm just going to switch on the best filter to talk about it more easily. So yeah, with the best filter on, you can see that Earth Power Garchomp is a step below the Excadrill here. And that's not really too bad because we do have some more bulk than the Excadrill and we have a different defensive typing than the Excadrill. A lot of ground type Pokemon like to fight electric type raids specifically, so we're getting a triple resist in on those electric type attacks, where Excadrill here is only getting the standard double resist. So that is another interesting attribute of the Garchomp. And then when you're comparing these two to Landorus Therian form, poor Lando T here is cursed with Earthquake, and the DPS like 16.4 versus 15.9, 15.8. That's a gap that's pretty easily bridged by being able to survive a hit or being able to use a lower energy cost charge move than a 100 energy cost charge move. And then on top of that, Mega Garchomp is more tanky than Lando T is. So I think there will be a lot of opportunities for Garchomp, with an Earth Power, if that does end up being its Community Day attack, for it to overthrow Lando T here, despite on this basic generic chart looking maybe slightly a little bit worse, but Garchomp would be pretty nuts with Earth Power. No confirmation. Now when it comes to predicting Community Day attacks and talking about them in raids, that's pretty easy because things are pretty standardized, pretty straightforward when it comes to raids. Things can get very confusing when talking about new attacks in PvP. Is it a fast move? Is it a charge move? Is it a new fast move or a new charge move with a completely different composition? So things can get a bit wild when it comes to that. First move to come to mind when it comes to Garchomp as a Community Day Pokemon could be Dragon Breath. And personally, I really hope it doesn't get Dragon Breath because it would be so boring. Because right now, Garchomp is only good in Master League PvP. I'm fairly certain, even with Dragon Breath, it would only be good in Master League PvP. And Master League is just chock full of Dragon Breath users already. Garchomp is already good in all the Master Leagues with its current set because it's got the Mud Shot, it's got the heavy damage, it's got the bait move, it's got everything going on for it already, and I don't feel like Dragon Breath would really add to it, and I don't even think it would be Garchomp's best move. So if Garchomp were to get Dragon Breath, it'd be like, yeah, that's interesting, I guess, but I don't think it'd be really cool, and I don't think it'd be really meta either, so I really hope that we don't get Dragon Breath. So moving away from that, we got charge moves to consider. And yeah, Garchomp getting a different or a new charge move, that would be pretty big. Here I got a list of some charge moves on Game Press here, and if you're not aware, right now Garchomp has Outrage, which is 110 for 60, and we've got Earthquake, which is 120 for 65, so slightly better than Outrage, but Earthquake does have different coverage than Outrage. Like, you can't hit a flying type Pokemon with an Earthquake, right? And then we also have Sandtomb. Sandtomb is 40 for 25, so it looks kind of bad, but it does have that 100% chance to debuff the opponent's defense there, which is fairly useful. It is a 40 energy cost, so it is a good bait move to pair with the Outrage. So, you bait them with the Sandtomb, lower their defense, and then that Outrage, it hits that much harder. So when it comes to this move pool, when you're looking at Earthquake and Outrage, there's definitely plenty of room for Garchomp to upgrade in. An unfortunate charge move that it might get would be Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor is technically better than Outrage. It's 65 for 150, but it does come with the drawback of debuffing your attack by 2 stages, and I don't think that'd be really useful for Garchomp, because Garchomp's the kind of Pokemon that likes to keep swinging with those Outrages, keep the ball rolling with that while baiting the opponent's shields with the Sandtombs. So I don't think Garchomp would really appreciate getting, its attack stat debuffed by Draco Meteor. Garchomp is also used as a closing Pokemon, so using that Draco Meteor to close a final Pokemon, that could be good, but if your opponent has 2 Pokemon left and you have to deal heavy damage to both of them, then yeah, having Draco Meteor, that would be a pretty big drawback, and I don't think it'd really make anything new or interesting happen for Garchomp. I mean, we already have plenty of Outrage plus Draco Meteor Pokemon, such as Dragonite, and Draco Meteor is an option for them, it's a good option for them, but more often than not, they are siding with Outrage or a different attack. So I really hope that Mega Garchomp here doesn't get the Draco Meteor. The one move that a lot of people are hoping for is going to be that Earth Power, and I think Earth Power would be really interesting to consider for Garchomp, given that there's already a debate between using Earthquake and Sandtomb on Garchomp. If you go with Earthquake instead of Sand Tomb, you're doing that big damage, but you have like basically no bait potential because Earthquake is 65 and Outrage is 60. So it's like you're not baiting your opponent, you're closing out the fight with these big moves and, you know, maybe throwing them off. They might think that you have the Sand Tomb, so they're trying to call that Sand Tomb bait, and then it just ends up being Earthquake. That's a lot bigger than Sand Tomb, right? And then when it comes to Sand Tomb's obviously the good bait move, lower energy cost, debuffs the opponent's defense stat, pairs really nicely with Outrage. Some people have considered going with, you know, triple ground type moves, so Earthquake with Sand Tomb with the Mud Shot, which is pretty ballsy because you're completely left out to dry against flying type Pokemon, but that is also another consideration. So when you add Earth Power to the mix, Earth Power is like existing in between these two attacks, and it's not necessarily better than either of them. I looked through the Pokemon that get both Earthquake and Earth Power, and when it comes to Claydol and Nidoqueen, they're kind of stuck with using Earth Power because they don't have a lower energy cost attack, and then to add to that, they are very low energy gaining Pokemon for the most part. So they are kind of like preying on getting just any charge move off, and Earth Power happens to be the lowest energy cost one. When it comes to Flygon, a Pokemon with Mud Shot that has the option of running Earthquake or Earth Power, the debate's on. Sometimes it wants Earth Power, sometimes it wants Earthquake, you know, the lower energy cost to close the fight sooner, or the heavy damage to actually close the fight. That's a complete and total debate on Flygon. However, Flygon also has the benefit of having Dragon Claw as a bait move. 35 energy cost, 50 damage, so it can bait shields with the Dragon Claw, and then it wants to have a heavier hitting attack sometimes from the Earthquake. So yeah, the Dragon Claw basically enables it to be a little bit picky with the Earthquake versus the Earth Power, where Garchomp here on the other hand has Sand Tomb. And Sand Tomb isn't bad, but because of all the flying type Pokemon in the Master League, using Sand Tomb with either Earth Power or Earthquake, that would be pretty bad. So, you know, which one's better for Garchomp? It has the energy gains to make good use of Earthquake, but it doesn't have the bait move to make it really like using Earthquake compared to Earth Power. It's hard to say if Earth Power would be an upgrade over Earthquake, you know, given the difference in damage. So it is just an interesting conundrum. And then when it comes to Earth Power versus Sand Tomb, it is a lower energy cost charge move, so if you just needed that lower energy cost to maybe bait a shield or to close out a fight sooner, then that obviously would be an upgrade, but clearly 55 energy cost doesn't have the bait power that 40 energy cost does. And then Earth Power has the potential, I believe it's a 20% chance to drop the defense by one stage, but Sand Tomb is 100%. It's always dropping that defense stat. So overall, Sand Tomb does feel like a more useful attack than Earth Power does. But if you wanted something in between, you know, not quite Earthquake, not quite Sand Tomb, you know, lower energy cost but higher damage, then Earth Power does exist in between. So if Garchomp were to get Earth Power, that would be really interesting. And I'd love to dive into all the PvPoke matchups with you where Earth Power could be better than either attack, but that is extraordinarily time consuming, so I think I will save that for the future when we actually get confirmation on getting Earth Power or not. Just know that Earth Power would be a pretty dynamic move. And then when it comes to raids, yeah, Earth Power obviously would be a fantastic move for Garchomp and Mega Garchomp when it comes to raids. Then there's always the possibility of Garchomp getting a new move altogether. Maybe its signature or most iconic move, Dragon Rush. I don't know about you guys, but Cynthia's, you know, Garchomp with the Dragon Rush there definitely traumatized me as a child. If it traumatized you too, let me know in the comments. Cynthia's Garchomp. But that freaking Dragon Rush, man, it just keeps coming, you know? And then it also has the flinch chance. That was really annoying to deal with as a kid. But yeah, could Dragon Rush happen on Garchomp on its community day? I think that could be pretty likely there because it is basically Garchomp's signature, most iconic attack. So what would Dragon Rush look like in Pokemon Go? Well, personally, speculation here, prediction going on. I'd be most happy if Dragon Rush ended up being a 80 damage for 45 energy cost attack, or maybe a 90 damage for 50 energy cost attack. Because right now, Dragon types, as you can see here, don't really have a whole lot of charge move options when it comes to PvP. Basically, you get Dragon Claw or you get Big Poop. So I feel like those compositions for Dragon Rush could give Garchomp and then potentially future Dragon type Pokemon, because other Dragon types can also learn Dragon Rush, it'd give them more options to have good charge moves. Because, you know, Outrage, Draco Meteor, those moves hit pretty hard, but 60 energy cost is just about always hitting a little bit too late. So just having a better compulsory option for dragons, something a bit harder hitting than Dragon Claw, I think that'd be pretty much in line and well deserved for Garchomp and all dragon type Pokemon. So that's what I'm kind of hoping to happen with the Dragon Rush. Of course, there is also the possibility that Dragon Rush could be a fast move in Pokemon Go. And if it were to be a fast move, I think it'd be interesting if it was like a good energy gaining fast move that also happened to have good damage. Sort of like, Shadow Claw or Volt Switch as an idea there. Basically what Dragon Tail wishes it was in Pokemon Go. And I think that'd be pretty dynamic and interesting for Garchomp too. Because right now, Garchomp can't run, 2 ground type charge moves. It can't do Sand Tomb and Earthquake because flying type Pokemon just wall it indefinitely. But if you were to combine like a good energy but good damage type attack with Sand Tomb, then, double ground type charge move Garchomp would have some play against flying type Pokemon, so that could be pretty interesting. And then even if you were to stick with the Outrage still, it would give it like fast move damaging options over other Pokemon to chonk them down or to close out the fight on the fast move, which is something that Mudshot really doesn't have going on for Garchomp right now. So if it were to be a fast move, if it were to be a charge move, as long as it was good and better than what we currently have, I think that'd be greatly appreciated. And then for it to be good on Garchomp, it wouldn't even have to be OP. It would just have to be in line with what's currently good in the game, and Garchomp would greatly appreciate it. So those are the possibilities I'm looking at for the Garchomp Community Day here. Gible Community Day, whatever does end up happening, is pretty hype because Garchomp is an all-powerful Pokemon in Pokemon Go. It's already a meta Pokemon in both the Master League and the Premier Cup Master League, and it's already a really good raid attacker. And Mega Garchomp is likely going to come out with it. And yeah, Mega Garchomp is the best Dragon and Ground-type Mega that we'll have in the game. Possibly the best Ground-type Mega that we'll have in the game for days to come. What are your thoughts on all this? What move do you think Garchomp's going to get? And if it does get a new attack like Dragon Rush, is it going to be good? Let me know in the description what you think about that. And of course, if you have any questions on this information, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support the Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. Right now it kind of looks like Pokemon Go is going with this trend here of having Community Day Pokemon that have Mega Evolutions. And I'm kind of hoping and praying that we don't end up getting Aggron Community Day. That would be kind of a dark timeline there. So let's hope they pump the brakes on this trend and give us something different next Community Day. Tepig? We're waiting on Tepig, right? Where's Tepig Community Day? Not Aggron Community Day. Please not. Never Aggron Community Day.